This is my second live for the day. And I'm doing this live because, again, like I listen to YouTube videos while I work all day, and I'm hearing so many people talk about recession and talk about how the economy is going to go to crap and the cost of everything is so expensive, and the problems with this and the problems with that, and there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on. And I titled this particular talk, about recessions. And what I want to say is I want to give you guys what happened to me during the last couple of downturns. Okay, so my name's Eric Wilk, and I own the Resplendent Crow here in St. Louis, Missouri. We are a furniture manufacturer. We are a high gloss lacquer paint company. We have one of the finest finishes probably that there exists. It's a beautiful finish. It's highly desirable, and I want to tell people that the recession fears that people are putting out there's some merit to them, okay? But here's the truth about recessions and downturns in the economy. If you are really good at what you do, recessions don't affect you that much. And people might not want to hear this kind of stuff, and I'm trying to do the opposite of what most people are doing. You're seeing all these people, they're in their cars, and they're super sad and depressed. Okay, look, I got the big river in the back. I'm out here. It's beautiful. It's sunny. It's not all doom and gloom. There's some good stuff going on in the world today, and I want to talk about some of that good stuff and what you can do to avoid some of these things. You're probably not going to avoid what's coming down the pipeline today, but you can certainly avoid what's coming down the pipeline tomorrow. All right, what do we got here? So someone says, what is the aim of your life? The aim of my life? Okay, well, so the aim of my life is basically, it's just a crap ton of work. That's basically what it boils down to. It's just gobs and gobs of work. And that's what I've been doing. That's what I want to do. There's nothing else I really want to do with my life other than win. What do you need, honey? Oh, okay. Then just win it and work and be really good at what I do. I don't want to be a burden on anybody. So that is actually the point of what I do. I want to do well enough in life that I don't have to be a burden on anybody else. And that's kind of the aim of my life. But what it's turned into where I've just done tons of woodworking my entire life. I never went to college. I never graduated high school. I just worked my butt off and managed to turn that into something that's just slightly above average life, and it's great. But what I was talking about at the beginning of this conversation was this whole recession thing, okay? The recession is there could be a global recession coming, right? There's no doubt about it. But here's the thing, guys. If you are really good at what you do, you don't have to worry about being laid off. You don't have to worry about being the person that gets kicked off because they're not they're not dead weights is not an accurate thing to say, but they're just not as valuable as other people. If you're really good at what you do and you spend time doing some of the things that I've been talking about in some of my earlier videos, you won't have to worry about being affected by a recession, or you won't have to worry about losing your job, right? I mean, you can't always affect everything, but losing your job doesn't have to be something you're gonna have to go through as much, right? Like I said, so I'll get to my story, okay? Here's the story, okay? We got more comments coming in. What's up, big dog? Yeah. You like feet? People are so funny. Yeah, no, I don't like feet, but I do love Blue Moon beer. So I started off my woodworking career basically right after 9/11, right? 2001, the planes hit Twin Towers. Everybody stopped spending money, okay? We went into a massive contraction here in America. And I know I got people all over the world that watch these kind of things. Well, when that happened, my family had a little woodworking shop in Oregon, and they mostly did work for like cities and counties, municipalities, fire departments, police departments, stuff like that. And it all got shut off, like 100%. Everyone just stopped spending for like a good month. There was nothing happening. And so there was no money, $0 coming in. And when you have a family-based business, you don't always have tons of cash and reserves, and we didn't. So I had to go find another job, like right after 9/11, okay? We got more comments coming in. Come to the planet with open hands. We'll leave with open hands. Yeah, I think that's very well put. Is it Rahu Patra? Where are you? I'm curious where you're located at. I get people all over the place. From Lebanon, Syria, places like that. I don't know if there's the time difference thing. People like to watch lives and stuff like this around that. I'm very curious where people are at. India. So is that India? Is that correct? I think that's what you're saying there. That's fantastic. My wife is from India, so I do business in India with hardware, brass hardware and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a great part of the world. But anyway, so after 9/11 happened, right, a big crash, contractions, had to go find a job. So I literally moved from Oregon to Kansas because I got an opportunity to go out and work for an aerospace company. And again, I had been woodworking from a young age, not anything crazy, but I just worked on the skill of making things, using sanders, drills, planers, learning to use table saws, all these kind of things, and just had parlayed that into enough skills where I developed the ability to see wood and to see how things are made. You kind of develop this stuff in your mind, but from a young age, working on these skills, okay, this isn't going to school, this isn't doing any of that stuff, it's just doing this thing for so long, okay? And I know that some people, this may not resonate with you. You're like, well, what do I do now? Because I'm in this horrible situation. And I'm sorry, you can't help everybody, So I'm going to tell you what I did and how it's helped me to kind of get where I'm at and how you can use this. If recessions are coming, if times are going to get harder, I'll tell you how you can use this stuff to help battle some of these things, okay? So move to Kansas from Oregon to take a job, right? And this is a job that was given to me on the internet. I get there, the company, I worked there for 3 months, and they're very happy, but I learned what work was in that 3-month period. I basically learned that you have to work, 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's how aerospace was. 3 months into that, they got bought out, fired everybody. Or I shouldn't say they fired everybody, they laid everybody off. That's an accurate way to put it. They laid everybody off, and then the new company rehired everybody. And since I was a new hire, I didn't get hired. So I mean, for whatever reason, maybe I wasn't good enough. I don't know. I didn't get rehired. So point is, I had to go find another job. Let's see, you from? No, I'm from Corvallis, Oregon. My wife's, oh God, I forget exactly where. I want to say she was by New Delhi, if I'm not mistaken. The towns there they're just so hard to pronounce those names. But when she comes back out here, I'll ask her. Anyway, point is, I had to find a new job, right? They laid everybody off, rehired. I didn't get rehired. So I found another company that also worked in aviation, because turns out that Wichita was literally the air capital of America. This is where all the private jets were, like all the big companies were there. And I didn't move there because of that. It was just dumb luck that the middle of the United States in Kansas, that's where everybody did all that shit, right? So I started doing all that, learned the woodworking thing, learned basically the sandwich panel game of building furniture. Furniture on private jets is not like furniture in your home, okay? So furniture on a private jet is made of what's called sandwich panels, right? So you got to think of it. If you were to look at a sheet of sandwich panel, if you looked at it dead on, it would look like honeycomb, like a bee's honeycomb, right? And then it has a skin on both sides. And a sheet of that stuff weighs about 7 pounds. So a piece of 3/4 inch plywood would weigh, probably closer to 50 or 60 pounds. So it's extremely light, but more importantly, it's extremely stable, right? But anyway, so I learned how to work with all that stuff. And the tools of the trade are very similar. The techniques are extremely different. They're way different. But what I learned is I could apply all that stuff to regular woodworking. So I learned that stuff within like a year or two. I made 50% more money, and I slowly grew those skills and grew my income. But I became the guy within maybe 4 or 5 years that was the one that was just working on all the R&D stuff, all the crazy shit, right? So I learned that being able to go into work and work on something new every day was extremely valuable, right? So you got a couple of groups of people. You got people that want to go to work and they just want to do the same thing every day, which is cool. And you got other people that they want to go into work and work on something new every day, right? So there was a lot of value in being that person that would just want to go in and work on something completely different every day. And it allows you to build your skills faster, right? Because you're doing new things. You develop the skill of learning to figure things out, okay? So if you can do that, do the stuff for a long period of time, you will get into a place where you become that person who is extremely valuable where you work. And then when a recession hits, you don't really have to worry so much about losing your job. And people have to be honest with themselves. I don't think enough people understand their place in a company, and they don't understand just how valuable they are. A lot of people think that just showing up every day, doing your job, punching in, punching out, that's all there is to it. I'm telling you, there is so much more to making it during bad times, right? And you want to be that person that, again, shows up every day, takes every opportunity that's thrown at them, constantly is working at becoming a more skilled person. And if you're one of these people that likes to ask their boss for things, like, that's cool. Like, I own my own company here, and I employ people, and My job is to make sure that the people that work for me are challenged, that are fulfilled where they do their work. So if you're one of these people that constantly wants new challenges and new tasks, don't be afraid to ask your employer for that stuff, because truth is, employers want their employees to shine, because when one of my employees does really well, it only makes me look better. Like, I'm not threatened by any of my employees doing a good job. They're never going to take my job. I'm not worried about that. And your boss isn't worried about you taking his job or her job either. It doesn't work like that, So always ask for those things. It's super important that your boss knows that you're one of those people. It's those people are kind of rare, to be quite honest with you. So if you're one of these people that, just like I said, goes to work, clocks in, clocks out, and can't wait to get out of work so they can go work on the thing they want to work on after they get out of work, you're asking for trouble. Okay, and I talked about this in a video I think I did yesterday. You need to find a way to marry what you do during your 9 to 5 and what you do after work. Okay, and if you're one of these people that you just want to work, and then you don't really want to do anything after work, or maybe you're just into your kids, or you're into your family life, all those kind of things, like, you're going to struggle to get really good, because there's a lot of people today that are doing what they do during their 9 to 5, and then they're coming home and doing the same thing, right? So you have to be able to keep up with those people. And during a recession, those are the people that always get kept, right? When things when things start to kind of go downhill, and businesses start to kind of try and pull in capital, and keep cash on hand, the people that they're going to let go are the people that are easy to replace. So again, if you spend a lot of time working on your skills at work and after work, you're going to be irreplaceable, and that's kind of how I see it. And that's one of the things that I feel like I was able to do as a furniture maker, and I still do to this day. After I got done with working at Global Engineering and Technology, and we go to another company called Nordam, same thing. Just went there and did whatever had to be done. I think I worked there for 4 or 5 years. I did a bunch of really cool projects there. But then I finally got my dream job, which was to go to Gulfstream, which is the kind of the top tier of aerospace companies, general aviation. And anyway, doing that, I got to work in their R&D and their refurb department, this is all the one-off stuff. This is all the crazy projects for interiors that again, these are non-repeatable things. This is where you have to know how to do engineering. You have to know how to do CAD. You have to know how to read things, work with all different kinds of materials, all different kinds of tools, and you have to be creative and come up with new ways to make things. And it's a very different way. Let me change my light here. We got the sun rotating around us. So it's a very different kind of work environment. You don't have people constantly watching you, and you don't have people that are constantly giving you information and supporting you. You're basically working on your own for the most part. They kind of expect that you're going to do that. So again, if you can get to that place where you're that kind of an employee, you don't have to worry too much about being gone in a recession, right? So I talked about the 2001, the 9/11 thing, what happened there. When the great financial crisis happened in 2008, same deal. Never got laid off, never had to deal with being fired, any of that stuff. Even though I think our company cut its workforce by about 50%. That was a Global Engineering and Technology. And they told everybody, if you couldn't make a product, you're probably going to lose your job. So it meant the people that were making things got to keep their jobs, and that's fine. Never had to worry about getting laid off then. So as these hiccups in the economy come, again, if you're really good at what you do, you don't have to worry about the stuff. So when people sit here and tell you all the time, like, the economy's going to hell, my employer hates me, my employer's trying to get rid of me, whatever the reason is, the truth is that most people they're really not that good at what they do. And I'm not trying to be mean or denigrating. What I'm saying is, you really do have to stop being mediocre, right? And some people say, well, I need to be able to have opportunities, I need to be able to work on my skills, and blah, 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 blah. And again, I don't dispute any of that. But if you work on your job at work, but then you come home and you work on the same thing, you're going to accelerate faster than the people you work with, because not only are you working on the stuff at work, but when you come home, you're working on the other stuff. So you're going to learn a whole different set of skills. Anyway, it's something that I don't hear people talking enough about. It's just nothing but doom and gloom, and it's aggravating to me that more people don't want to really get exceptional at what they do. It just seems like too many people are kind of chasing jobs, and they're running from one job to the next job to the next job and to the next job. And I don't know why. I'm not trying to be people's counselors or anything like that, but if you're gonna take the time to go into a job, right? And I'm speaking to young people here, but if you're gonna take the time to go do a job, why not pick something that is revered as you get older? Like if you're doing a job and no one ever says, "Oh man, I can't wait till I'm a master this," or "I'm a journeyman this," or the trades are the easiest thing to talk about because that's what I know. But when people look at old furniture makers, I mean, every other furniture maker looks up to those people. People always talk, warmly and lovingly about how their grandfather made this or their dad made that. All these kind of jobs. No one ever says, "Oh yeah, my grandfather was a master financier." Like it doesn't say. No one says that, or like, "Oh yeah, but my dad was the greatest Uber driver that ever walked the face of the earth." Like these things just don't happen. And the people that go to college and they say, like, say you want to go, get into HR. Like no one ever says, "Oh yeah, my mom was a master HR person." Those things don't exist. And I don't know if I'm saying it like the best way, but truth is that you want to do something that is revered, and that's why, people talk quite warmly about the older doctors, right? Older lawyers, these kind of things. Like even engineers get a little bit of it, but people talk, quite warmly about people that have been working in the trades for a very long time. The rest of the industry generally looks up to those people. The older you are in that trade, the more respect you get, and again, I don't know that, people that work in these warehouse jobs, if they really understand that doing that job, while it will make a paycheck, there's no real long-term kind of way to look at that. And again, I'm saying this as someone who never graduated high school, and it's not to talk down to anybody. I'm just trying to tell people that you can do these things, but you got to make some choices earlier in life. So when you're thinking, you're going to go out and get, effed up with your buddies and smoke weed all day and not go in and work Saturday because, F the boss and all these kind of things, like these are all choices that develop mindsets over the years, and you can become a little bit of an immovable object, and really what you need to do is you need to be more open to trying new things and doing different kinds of things that you might not necessarily feel are either your job or they could be beneath you or whatever. You just have to be open to being curious and just try new things, because the more you do that kind of stuff, the more opportunities are going to come to you, and the longer you can do that, in my case a trade, the more respect you get, the more skill you get, and the more doors open up for you. And whatever you do with those opportunities is entirely up to you. But I'm telling you that if you do these things long enough, you'll have more doors open to you, right? And we don't all capitalize on every door that opens, but you'll have more opportunities to capitalize on those things. But you got to start off as young as you can doing something that is, again, a career that becomes a very respectable career. And again, when I was young, I had no idea. It was just, I just happened to be, my parents just happened to have a cabinet shop, right? That ended up going out of business after 9/11. But I had no idea that would lead into a life where furniture makers and cabinet makers and working in aerospace, like this is all kind of an interesting kind of niche career. And again, I never had money problems. I never had a bunch of money, but I never wanted for a ton of things either. And again, no education, zero. Your skill is that you learn, and your skill is you show up. Your skill is that you don't do drugs because you get blacklisted. Your skill is that you don't do the tattoo thing because people don't want to hire, tons of people with tattoos walking around their private jets with a bunch of, elite rich people. You can't do it. You kind of have to be a little bit of a bland person. I'm sorry, but it's been okay, right? Like life's been okay, and you don't have to always be worried that you're never going to make it and that there's no opportunities and that you're just doomed to work these kind of endless jobs, or is endless jobs? I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for. These like dead end jobs, I guess is kind of what I'm saying. There's a lot of other things that you can do with your life, but it takes time, and you have to do this stuff as young as you possibly can. And I don't know what to do if you get a little bit older. If you get a ton of debt and you have, a ton of kids and a bunch of home drama, that stuff's it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be real tough. But if you can get into a trade and you can start doing something where you are making a product, and preferably a very expensive product, and you do this for a very long time, you're going to do okay. And I think more people need to look into making things. They need to learn how to work with their hands, learn to use screwdrivers and saws, and read tape measures, learn how to read the metric system, understand the difference between, centimeters and millimeters, and learn, your decimals and your fractions. And while this is all kind of basic stuff, there's a lot of people that don't know this stuff. And if you can learn these basic things, carry this into an industry where you're making very expensive products, it will take you very far in life, So I wouldn't worry too much about the recession thing if you're one of these people that's kind of worried about that kind of stuff. Like, the economy is going to be fine. You're into it this far. Make sure you guys do the like, comment, and subscribe thing, and it kind of helps the algorithm. But what I see in the industry today, and again, I'm talking to designers all the time, I'm talking to different business owners, things are good, and I know that there's a lot of people that might not think that right now, but I'm here to tell you that in the furniture industry, things are exceptionally good. And I hope this kind of gives people hope that, if you're one of these people, again, you are in an industry that you're worried about, you're doing a job you're not sure about, you're not sure if this is the thing you want to do, in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 10 years, consider getting into a different industry, right? And I said this a couple of days ago. Unfortunately, if you're looking to get into, like I said, if my particular industry is the furniture industry, if you're going to get into this industry and you're in your 30s, you better be prepared to take a massive pay cut, because you don't know anything, And again, I know this sucks and this is a terrible thing for people to have to do, but I've told people, like, if you have to, move back in with your parents. Like, it's worth it moving back in with your parents and spending 2 or 3 years learning, making, garbage money, but learning how to use a tape measure, learning how to get best cuts out of a piece of plywood, learning how, to use a skill saw, reciprocating saw, say circular saw, whatever you guys want to call them. Learn how to do these things. Learn how to make something, learn how to lay concrete, or do masonry work. It's worth it to take a couple of years, learn how to do that stuff, move home. Like I said, cut your expenses as much as you possibly can. It will pay off, because in the future, going forward, you're going to need a lot of people to make things. The people working in the offices and doing HR and, basically telling them how awesome they are with their college degrees, like, those people are all in trouble. They're all in trouble, okay? And I say this as a guy that never went to school. How many people I've had try and come work for me that have bachelor's degrees. It's wild. It's absolutely wild, because they just regret it, So learn these skills. You'll be fine during recession. The furniture industry is absolutely booming right now. I won't say I've never been this busy, but other than COVID, I've never been this busy. And people are buying furniture. People are having custom furniture made. People are working on their houses. Interior designers that I talk to are busy. The industry as a whole is busy, okay? And I did a video months ago. I've done a couple videos at this point talking about the housing industry, okay? The housing industry is not moving very much, right? But rich people are always buying homes. Interest rates they're not really affected by the interest rates when it comes to buying personal properties. So they're always buying homes. So there is always turnover in that particular industry. But what's happening right now is the bond market is starting to factor in the slowdown in the economy, and it's causing the 10-year bond to go down. And as that 10-year bond goes down, it's causing interest rates to go down too. And you can Google it right now, but you'll see the interest rates are starting to go down. So when that interest rate gets low enough, that housing market is going to start moving. And when this housing market starts moving, you want to have the skills to frame a house. You want to have the skills to lay a foundation. You want to have the skills to, do windows, electrical. You want to have the skills to make furniture, make cabinets, do roofing. All these kind of things are going to be so goddamn important. So if you're one of these people that hates their job and worries about money, the recessions, the ups and downs of the economy, this market's getting ready to move, So I'm not going to drone on. I know I've been talking for a while, and I just felt like I had to say something, because I took off early to help my wife with her stuff, and I was waiting for her to come home, and I thought I'd have a beer and just talk to people, because there's good things out there, guys. There's good things going on in the economy right now, and we're going to see, like I said, when this housing market starts moving, which it will, you're going to see a boom in this country like we haven't seen in a very long time, and it's going to be good for everybody, especially those people that know how to make things, So don't worry so much about that kind of stuff. And again, learn a skill, and yeah, I'll just kind of leave it at that. So anyway, Hope everyone has a great day, and it's super nice out. We got great weather for the next couple of days, and then it goes to hell for a few days. But I'm ready for spring and summer. Man, it's been a cold winter. So, have a good one, and I'll talk to everyone probably on Friday.